You're listening to the Acadiana's Morning News Podcast, brought to you by LABI and always on KPEL965.com.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Since 1971, Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities has reached out to scholars, institutions, and local communities to enrich our shared culture. Want to know more about LEH and the rich culture of Louisiana? Visit leh.org for more information or to donate.
For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Studios.
This is a Fox News alert. Police are moving in at UCLA. I'm Dave Anthony. There are bags right now on the California campus and a lot of smoke in the air.
It smells like tear gas to me.
Fox's William Lajeunesse is there watching what's going on with police.
The police pulling out some of that plywood and throwing it to the side.
As officers tear down the encampment and bring protesters out one by one, putting them in zip ties.
And then periodically they're going to line them, take 5, 6 out at a time to waiting buses by the sheriff's department. And they're going to be arrested and they're actually going to be processed and booked. But I've seen some of the students trying to hide their faces from me, maybe hide them from their parents who might be watching.
That encampment at UCLA has been there a week, one of many on college campuses nationwide that have also led to hundreds of arrests. Former President Trump's called on college presidents to end the encampments as he campaigned on an off day at his criminal trial in Michigan and Wisconsin. Also addressing the abortion issue, saying the Supreme Court, with 3 justices he appointed, got it right.
We brought it back into the states where it has to be, and over a period of time that works out.
Vice President Harris says it's working out badly in some states, like Florida, where an abortion ban at 6 weeks of pregnancy took effect yesterday when she went to Jacksonville.
4 million women in this state woke up with fewer reproductive freedoms than they had last night.
In Arizona, state lawmakers voted to repeal a Civil War-era law that bans almost all abortions in that state. Back to former President Trump. He will return to court this morning in New York for more testimony at his criminal trial. In a hearing into more alleged gag order violations, he's already been fined $9,000 for other violations. The judge threatened to jail the former president, who says the order unconstitutionally silences him about the case. America's listening to Fox News.
The global elites are waging a war on our financial freedom. They want to control our future through digital currencies and a cashless society. By eliminating cash, they can track every transaction, impose negative interest rates, and even freeze accounts at will. But patriots are fighting back by investing in physical gold. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon here. I believe gold is the answer. It safeguards your wealth better than any other asset. And even better, with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group, you can move your retirement savings into tangible, real gold without paying taxes or penalties. Rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into physical gold could be the smartest financial move you ever make. To learn more, get your free info kit from Birch Gold by texting PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to 989898. Take a stand for your financial future. Text PROTECT to 989898 right now to receive your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group.
Message and data rates may apply.
Look at our top Fox News story. Police right now continuing to break up a pro-Palestinian encampment at UCLA in California after a week of protests on that campus. The day after those demonstrators clashed with pro-Israeli students for hours. There was a big scare at a school in Wisconsin. A student who had a gun shot and killed outside Mount Horeb Middle School.
This incident took place outdoors. The subject in this case never gained entry to the school building during the incident, and the subject was a student in the Mount Horeb School District.
Wisconsin Attorney General Josh called for hours as police looked for any other possible threats. Kids were on lockdown in schools. Some parents described their children hiding in closets in fear. There was a much different shooting scene in Texas.
Fort Worth police say someone drove by an apartment complex and opened fire, hitting 6 people, including a 3-year-old. Police Chief Neil Noakes calls it senseless violence.
I've said many times it makes me angry. I am mad. I'm pissed off.
Noakes says they don't know what prompted the shooting.
There's absolutely no reason anybody should be conducting themselves in such a violent, careless, heartless way that children should be shot. 5
of the injured transported to a hospital. The shooter or shooters got away. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are rising the day after a mixed market reacting to the Federal Reserve's decision not to cut interest rates.
The FOMC decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged and to continue to reduce our securities holdings, though at a slower pace.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell says inflation, which has been creeping back up, remains too high. In the NBA playoffs, the Heat are out. The Boston Celtics advanced to round 2, blowing out Miami by 32 points in Game 5. Dallas routed the LA Clippers by 30 to take a 3-2 series lead. In the NHL, Edmonton knocked Los Angeles out of the playoffs. Dallas went up 3-2 on Vegas. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wertz with a look at news on this Thursday, May 2nd. We start in Baton Rouge, where a House vote on whether to hold a constitutional convention was tabled Wednesday after legislators expressed concerns. After discussion, New Iberia Representative Bo Boye amended his bill to protect homestead exemption and ensure his fellow representatives that private funds would not be used for the convention. Boye also amended the legislation so the K-12 public school financing formula is protected. After a closed-door meeting with legislators on Tuesday, Governor Jeff Landry's administration will be participating in the federal summer feeding program for needy children, reversing his earlier position. The administration initially said the state lacked funds needed to cover the administrative cost of the program, but last week, the House voted to include $3.6 million to make up the difference. At least 250,000 children will be served by the $71 million from the federal government. Beginning June 4th, eligible families will receive an extra $40 per month in EBT during the summer months. The NAACP filed a motion on Wednesday to appeal the ruling by a judicial panel that says Louisiana should toss the redrawn congressional map adopted by the legislature in January, and that fight is going to the U.S. Supreme Court. The federal judges in Louisiana cited violations of the 14th Amendment, saying the map represents impermissible racial gerrymandering. Congressman Garrett Graves, whose district was altered in the most recent version, was among the plaintiffs who filed suit against the map. The Secretary of State's office has stood firm on a May 15th deadline for a map to be finalized in time for the fall election. Louisiana is the only state without a finalized congressional map. A meeting is set for Monday in Shreveport to figure out the best path forward. ATM thieves have struck again, this time in Vermilion Parish. At about 2 o'clock Wednesday morning, someone crashed into Longyaw's Grocery in Gaydaw. The store is owned by the town's police chief. The thieves followed the same pattern as in previous ATM robberies in Acadiana. They used a stolen pickup truck that deputies found abandoned in a field. The ATM was in the bed of the truck along with building materials from the store. Anyone with information is asked to call the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Department. A St. Martinville man was taken into custody in Lafayette for sexual violence charges filed against him in Alabama. 31-year-old Bobby Bergeron Jr. was extradited to DeKalb County and faces charges of first-degree rape, second-degree rape, first-degree sexual battery, and first-degree sodomy. Alabama authorities expressed gratitude to the U.S. Marshals and the Lafayette Office of the Department of Children and Family Services for assisting in Bergeron's arrest. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wertz.
This hour of Acadiana's Morning News has been brought to you by Janney King. The King of Clean has been a leader in the cleaning industry on the Gulf Coast for over 35 years. To find out more about their cleaning and disinfecting services, head to their website at JannyKing.com.
Party at Rock and Bowl all weekend, starting on Thursday with Kevin Naka and Cajun Preservation. Friday, That 90s Show. Saturday, Michael Scott Boudreaux. And Sunday, Gino Delafosse and French Rockin' Boogie. Tickets now at rockandbowl.com. God bless you, God love you, and thank God for you.
For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight lows going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning as sloppy commute to work Friday morning is expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Okay, checking out the traffic board early on this, Thursday morning. No accidents to report. Current temperature, though, really warm and 76 degrees. Good morning and welcome into Acadiana's Morning News. On this Thursday, May 2nd, Tracy Wirtz, Mark Pope joining you. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
More rain on the way.
Yep.
Some today. Tomorrow, a bigger chance of rain, as Daniel was just saying. So I think he used the word sloppy. That would probably be accurate.
Yeah. Well, it's been a dry week, so, we do need the rain.
Yeah.
And so.
It is May 2nd. It is the National Day of Prayer today.
Mm-hmm.
It is National World Tuna Day, as in the fish. I'm sure that has to do with protection, but I'm not, I'm thinking of Starkist and Charlie the tuna, and it is International Harry Potter Day. I need to text a few members of my family who are huge Harry Potter fans. So for all you Harry Potter fans out there, you might want to celebrate today by wearing the appropriate colors for the house with which you associate. Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and then the one that Harry was a member of, and now it's going to be escaping me. Anyway, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan too. And I read all of the books. I think there were 7. I read them twice.
Wow.
Yeah, read them twice. I've seen the movies often. My husband and I enjoy the movies. So anyway, it is International Harry Potter Day. Taking a look back in history, on this date in 1878, the American Congress eliminated the 20-cent coin. I didn't even realize there was a 20-cent coin.
Neither me.
Not for long, though. There maybe 100 years. On this date in 1885, the first ever magazine issue of Good Housekeeping was published. On this date in 1908, and I looked for the song, we don't have it in our system, Take Me Out to the Ball Game was copyrighted. This is interesting, the U.S. Copyright Office received 2 copies of this new song for copyright. It was written by Jack Norworth and Albert von Tilzer, neither of which had ever attended a baseball game before writing the song.
I'll be dang.
How about that? It's since become, of course, the official anthem of North American baseball. Mm-hmm. On this date in 1918, General Motors bought the Chevrolet Motor Company. And on this date in 2011, the FBI's most wanted man, Osama bin Laden, was killed by U.S. Navy SEALs and CIA operatives in Abbottabad. I remember hearing that name several times around that time. Abbottabad, Pakistan. That's a look back at today in history. Mark, we have a full schedule today.
I know. I see that.
It is Sola Giving Day. We have with us the CEO of Community Foundation in with us this morning. We'll visit with her next. Coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, it's Lafayette Live. We've got some of the members of the Boulay administration in with us today. Also in the 7 o'clock hour, we will talk again to Fox correspondent Ryan Schmelz about what's happening on Capitol Hill as it relates to Margaret Taylor Greene and her effort to oust Speaker Mike Johnson. That'll be interesting.
Yep.
And in the 8 o'clock hour, we have our law enforcement folks coming in today. We head to Vermilion and St. Landry parishes. So keep it here. Lots to do on Acadiana's Morning News. KPEL News Time, 6:15.
Fox on Tech.
What do your emojis sound like? Your emojis, those little cartoony things you use as a shorthand while texting people, are intended to convey a sentiment. It's become part of how we converse, for better or worse. For instance, your colleague might not reply to you with words, but they might send you thumbs up emoji. Everyone does it. Apple has experimented with animated versions they dub Animojis. Now Google wants to include other senses, including sounds. The blog 9 to 5 Google reports that an Android feature now in beta testing are 6 audio emojis, meaning sounds associated to 6 of the emojis you often use. The laughing emoji will have a laughing sound. The sad emoji gets the sad trombone. And the poop emoji, well, it gets the whoopee cushion sound. You know what it is. Imagine texting that to your grandma. No word if the feature is coming in the next Android update. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Democracy 24.
Independent candidate for president Robert F. Kennedy Jr. proposing a no-spoiler pledge to President Biden that would have them co-fund a 50-state poll of more than 30,000 people in October, pitting each of them against former President Trump in a two-man race and agreeing that whoever performs weakest drops out of the race.
We only have one chance to beat Donald Trump, and we need a nominee who can get the job done. That would be me.
But extending the invite.
And I'm happy to make this same pledge with President Trump, because I can do better against President Biden than President Trump can.
Saying he wants Americans to feel that they don't have to vote out of fear.
That they feel that they can vote out of hope.
Critics have slammed his run, including former President Trump, who called Kennedy's campaign a wasted protest vote, while more than a dozen members of the Kennedy family have endorsed President Biden for a second term. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight low is going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning. A sloppy commute to work Friday morning is expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Taking a look at our traffic board this morning. No accidents to report. It's warm and muggy, though, 76 degrees. There he is. KPEL News Time is 6:21 on this Thursday. It is May the 2nd. It's National Day of Prayer, but also another very important day today. It is Sola Giving Day. Missy Andrade is joining us. Missy, are you ready? Because this is a big day.
We are ready and we are excited.
Yeah, I bet you are. I tell you what, each year I see the effort that goes in from the Community Foundation to this particular day. And you guys do great work all year, but really today's a hard focus, initiative.
Yeah, today is an opportunity for all of us to support the many wonderful organizations that do work day in and day out throughout the region. Sola Giving Day is the largest community-wide fundraising event of the year, and we have well over 210 organizations participating. They're fundraising for all sorts of different projects and programs. And I would encourage anyone and everyone to figure out today how you can give back. Every dollar amount matters. I see those transactions come through. This is the type of event, no matter what the gift size, it's all about collective impact. So if you have $5 to give, 50, 100, whatever it may be, solagivingday.org is an easy place to make that happen. And you can take a look at all of the wonderful organizations that are participating today.
Excuse me. And I've seen on social media organizations really promoting participation in Solar Giving Day. But also you have a lot of organizations who have match dollars available.
Yes. So we have about $700,000 in matches that are available. And for anyone who's not familiar with what that means, those organizations have gotten strategic with a donor or a group of donors, and they are leveraging some dollars to say, hey, you have a chance to double your impact. So if you find one of those organizations who has a match on the table, just know that whatever you're giving, it's essentially going to be doubled. And look, philanthropy, it can be really straightforward. It can also be about the strategy that people are really working through. And those match dollars, I think, help to bring some new people to the table and maybe get them engaged in the process in a different way.
Yeah. So if you're saying, well, I only have $10 or I have $100 and I'd like to support several organizations. This is a great way, like you said, to increase that impact and increase your participation with that particular organization. Yesterday, Lafayette Parish Superintendent Francis Touchette was in along with Millicent with Love Our Schools, and they were talking about how any donations toward Lafayette Parish schools will be used in the community. And maybe it was you. We've talked to a few people about Solar Giving Day. It was them yesterday because they said some of the schools, because the principals lead those initiatives, will put down how they raise their money or what they do with their money. Do you find that to be the case with most of your organizations?
Yeah, I think our organizations over the last 7 years have gotten really strategic. I've gotten really, really thoughtful, not just about raising dollars generally, but saying these dollars are to help us purchase new benches or to establish a garden at our school or, to redo the message board in front of the school so that we can get news out to parents. And all of those schools in particular do have a match available. But yes, Love Our Schools has worked closely with the individual schools to really figure out how can you be specific, how can we get creative, and how can people really see what it is that they're investing in. I think that, giving makes you feel good, but if you can really look, see, touch, feel, and understand what your donation is going to help to bring to life, it makes that giving experience a little different.
So you have been in place for a while now. You have been CEO at Community Foundation of Acadiana, and so this is probably your second or third of the Solar Giving Days, and which has been around for 7 years now. Community Foundation has been in existence 24 years. That's all of that's a tremendous record. So, how much money was brought in collectively last year, the last full year?
Last year, for Solar Giving Day last year specifically, we raised $1.82 million.
Wow.
But I will tell you that last year as a whole, because Solar Giving Day is something that CFA does. It's not all that we do. But last year as a whole, more than $17 million were granted out from the Community Foundation.
Wow.
Yeah, so SOLA is a piece of that puzzle, but we do good work with donors and with organizations day in and day out.
Yeah. It's tremendous work.
Let's say someone is like, man, this sounds like a great project. I want to be involved. I want to donate, but maybe they don't have a passion project. Maybe they don't know which direction to go. What is your suggestion to someone like that?
Well, certainly they can go and do some quick research on the Solar Giving Day website. Even if, from a mission perspective, you decide, okay, I think I want to support education, but I don't quite know what. You can go and look at all the organizations who have said, hey, this is an education-focused project. If you're real confused, you can always give me a call, and I'm happy to help. The other thing I'll mention is this is not just a Lafayette-specific event. We are a regional organization. There are nonprofits signed up from every parish in the region, and we even have some friends from Southwest Louisiana and the Bayou region who participate too. So if you're thinking like, well, I want to support something at home, chances are there is an organization that you're familiar with that is doing work in your own local community that you can pull up and take a look and see. I'd reference to an organization like Boys and Girls Club who has multiple locations. There's opportunity to give to organizations who are doing work, not just in one specific place, but throughout the region too.
That's a great point.
Focus on your name, Community Foundation of Acadiana. So you're based in Lafayette, but it's much broader than Lafayette. And when you go to solagivingday.org, that's where you go and donate. You will see, like you just mentioned, the Bayou region. Talk about those 3 regions that you can click on across the top of that website and find out what organizations are outside of Lafayette or in other areas of Acadiana.
Yes. So our partners in the Bayou region, the Bayou Community Foundation, you can go and look specifically at the organizations domiciled in that area, doing work in that area, and see, of course, learn about who they are, what they do. We also have our partners in Southwest Louisiana, some key organizations. They up until last year, they didn't have a giving day to participate in. So we said, hey, we got the platform, we got the day set up. This will be an easy way to just kind of plug and play. So you'll be able to see, too, those organizations doing work specifically in Southwest Louisiana, and you can give there as well. So we see donations coming through not just from across Louisiana, but internationally.
Wow.
There are no boundaries for this event. So if you want to call your family member who lives in Europe or Australia or wherever and ask them to support something happening here back at home, they can do that very easily.
So just decide on your geographic area. If it is in Acadiana, which is Lafayette and the surrounding parishes, you're going to want to click on Sola Giving Day. Mm-hmm. And if maybe you are listening outside and have another specific area that you would like to target, then again, Southwest and the Bayou region. But I appreciate you saying that, or reminding folks that this is not just about Lafayette organizations. Mm-hmm. Those are important, and there are a lot of them who serve outside of the Lafayette area. But we do have a lot of listeners in St. Landry, in Vermilion, in Acadia, in St. Martin, in Iberia. I could go on and on and on. But so that's real important to note as well. And a lot, and what I found after the fact is going to the site, because you can see how much, and during the time you can see how much they've received. That helps to make, I would think, a decision on where to give, because they may go overlooked. Yep.
And our parish affiliates, which is a unique structure within the Community Foundation, to ensure that we have a concerted effort in what philanthropy looks like in the more rural parishes. Many of those affiliates have put up matches for the organizations who are fundraising within that parish. So same thing. You want to double your impact. You want to make sure that your dollars stay local. Go and check out solagivingday.org. Chances are you're going to find something maybe, again, that you know about, right. Maybe something new that you're interested in supporting, and you can double your impact.
So today is Sola Giving Day, although Community Foundation of Acadiana has been actively receiving donations for a month now, going back to early April. But after today, the donate button on solagivingday.org is no longer active. Is that correct?
That is true. So you will still be able to go to solagivingday.org after today. You'll be able to see all of the final results for the fundraising efforts. You'll be able to still go to the various pages of the organizations to learn more about them and the projects that they're fundraising for. And of course, you can give to any nonprofit any day of the week, any day of the year, just not through the Giving Day website after midnight tonight. And so I would tell you, give us a call, give those organizations a call. We can certainly still help to facilitate your giving. Mm-hmm. That's what we do 364 days out of the year when we're not doing Sola Giving Day.
Right.
So we would still encourage you to go check out that website. For some organizations, particularly the smaller ones, they may not have their own website. They may not have a huge social media presence. And so this is another landing spot for them to tell their story and to tell about the work that they do. But yeah, CFA is there every day of the year to walk with you as a donor, as a philanthropist, to help to facilitate your giving. So give us a call.
Thanks, Missy, so much. Good luck today. And I got some donations I want to go make too. SolaGivingDay.org. KPEL News Time is 6:32.
Cape Hill covers Acadiana with Lowry's Printing and Copying.
The 27th Annual Sunset Urban Garden Festival is Saturday, May 4th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Marie Street in Sunset. That's across from the old Sunset High School. Native plants and flowers, ferns and tropicals, vegetables and herbs. There's educational opportunities, over 100 vendors, and children's activities. Also, Le Jardin des Enfants, the children's garden. Get more details, call Susie Brunet at 337-322-0129. The Lafayette Genealogical Society has Genealogy 101, a free workshop and roundtable Saturday, May 4th, beginning at 9:30 a.m. at the Lafayette Public Library in downtown Lafayette. Learn all about genealogy and ask your questions and meet other people with an interest in genealogy. To find out about more meetings, go to lalgs.org.
This hour brought to you by Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management. Online at MatthewJames.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the Cape Hill News app. Now the headlines from the Cape Hill News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wertz with a look at news on this Thursday, May 2nd. We start in Baton Rouge, where a House vote on whether to hold a constitutional convention was tabled Wednesday after legislators expressed concerns. After discussion, New Iberia Representative Bo Boye amended his bill to protect homestead exemption and ensure his fellow representatives that private funds would not be used for the convention. Boye also amended the legislation so the K-12 public school financing formula is protected. After a closed-door meeting with legislators on Tuesday, Governor Jeff Landry's administration will be participating in the federal summer of feeding program for needy children, reversing his earlier position. The administration initially said the state lacked funds needed to cover the administrative cost of the program, but last week, the House voted to include $3.6 million to make up the difference. At least 250,000 children will be served by the $71 million from the federal government. Beginning June 4th, eligible families will receive an extra $40 per month in EBT during the summer months. The NAACP filed a motion on Wednesday to appeal the ruling by a judicial panel that says Louisiana should toss the redrawn congressional map adopted by the legislature in January, and that fight is going to the U.S. Supreme Court. The federal judges in Louisiana cited violations of the 14th Amendment, saying the map represents impermissible racial gerrymandering. Congressman Garrett Graves, whose district was altered in the most recent version, was among the plaintiffs who filed suit against the map. The Secretary of State's office has stood firm on a May 15th deadline for a map to be finalized in time for the fall election. Louisiana is the only state without a finalized congressional map. A meeting is set for Monday in Shreveport to figure out the best path forward. ATM thieves have struck again, this time in Vermilion Parish. At about 2 o'clock Wednesday morning, someone crashed into Longyaw's Grocery in Gaydon. The store is owned by the town's police chief. The thieves followed the same pattern as in previous ATM robberies in Acadiana. They used a stolen pickup truck that deputies found abandoned in a field. The ATM was in the bed of the truck along with building materials from the store. Anyone with information is asked to call the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Department. A St. Martinville man was taken into custody in Lafayette for sexual violence charges filed against him in Alabama. 31-year-old Bobby Bergeron Jr. was extradited to DeKalb County and faces charges of first-degree rape, second-degree rape, first-degree sexual battery, and first-degree sodomy. Alabama authorities expressed gratitude to the U.S. Marshals and the Lafayette Office of the Department of Children and Family Services for assisting in Bergeron's arrest. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wertz. I had the absolute pleasure of going by the brand new home furniture location on Johnston Street, across the street from the mall, right next to Mazin Grill. It is absolutely gorgeous. A lot of light, so well organized. And as always, the sales team there is incredibly well informed and knowledgeable about every piece that they sell. And right now, a big sale going on. It's never happened before, and it may never happen again. Through Saturday, Home Furniture, all their locations, kicks off a Memorial Day early event with the biggest and best furniture and mattress savings and low payments, too. A queen mattress as low as $9 a month. Elegant queen beds from just $9 a month. Plush style sofa as low as $17 a month. and up to 60 months special financing with no money down. And don't forget, they'll get it to your house the very next day. Next day delivery. You don't have to bring a truck. You don't have to worry about how you're going to get it from place A to place B. Home Furniture Plus Bedding's Memorial Day sale. Yes, it's early, but it's time to save now. Go buy home furniture, whether it's the brand new location on Johnston Street or any of the other locations across Louisiana and even into Southeast Texas. If you want to find out where, Home Furn, that's homefurn.com, Home Furniture Plus Bedding, big Memorial Day sale going on now through Saturday.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight lows going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning. Is sloppy commute to work Friday morning as expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Okay, we don't have any accidents on the roadways, but I did hear some sirens passing by the radio station because there is a fire alarm, a commercial fire alarm, Theater Street and Congress Street. So we'll see if that is anything or if it was a false alarm. Current temperature 76 degrees. KPEL News Time is 6:41 on this Thursday morning. It is May 2nd. It's National Day of Prayer, Sola Giving Day, and it's the day when we get our history lesson. Professor Bob Carricker from UL Lafayette is in with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. This morning, so my daughter was supposed to be sitting here with me this morning.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. My daughter Leona is graduating from high school.
Nice.
So she's officially done with everything now. She took her last final exam yesterday, and she wanted to come in.
Yeah.
Last night she wanted to come in.
Yeah, and then this morning
but
when you're ready to get up.
6 o'clock in the morning, she had changed her mind.
Yeah.
That's the aspiring pilot?
It is the
daughter?
aspiring pilot, and that's
Yes.
part of the reason why I wanted her to be here this morning, is because I chose a topic that corresponds to piloting and airplanes.
Okay.
And because today she is becoming a private pilot. She's getting her private pilot license, and today she flies solo across country. So she flies from Lafayette on her own to Lake Charles and back. And so this is, for me, I mean, it's a big moment for her and her piloting license.
For you, it's terrifying. I would be.
But for me, yeah, it's terrifying. Exactly. And so this is absolutely on my mind all day today. A highly capable young lady that she is, but still.
She's hanging in the air in a big tin can.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just not supposed to happen.
So what I decided to do was to, make myself feel a little bit better about all of this by choosing a topic about a plane crash.
Oh, good. Yeah, because that's exactly the direction you should have gone.
Mark, you need to face your fears.
Sounds just
Wear
like
them on
Bob.
your sleeve, and you're much better off.
There you go.
Okay, so which plane crash specifically?
Okay, so it is May the 1st, so it's yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday in history. This is a big moment in Cold War history, and I think if you listen, I like the Cold War. It's kind of the thing.
I have become
lived
a
through
fan.
it. And, And so it's May the 1st, 1960, and it's the U-2 spy plane incident.
Okay.
And so the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, had developed this high-altitude spy plane that flew at 70,000 feet. So super high up in the stratosphere, I guess is what it actually is.
Okay.
Not even, all right, so super high-altitude spy plane with camera equipment that didn't previously exist, that they could, from 70,000 feet, take pictures, and they said, read the headlines on newspapers.
Wow.
If you were walking around with a newspaper, it could read the headline on that. And the CIA specifically developed these U-2 spy planes with this capability because they wanted to be able to spy on the Soviet Union.
Okay.
The United States was very concerned that the Soviet Union was developing nuclear missiles and nuclear missile silos that they weren't aware of, and the United States needed to be aware of this movement and their development and these nuclear weapons. And how do you get to know this stuff? And so you've got to figure it out. And they had these spy planes in order to do that. And so on May the 1st, pilot by the name of Francis Gary Powers gets in his U-2 spy plane. It was actually left from Pakistan to fly completely over the Soviet Union and take pictures. And this had been done before successfully. But on this occasion, he goes missing. He's missing. He doesn't arrive where he's supposed to. They lose radio contact with him. Oh my gosh, what has happened here? And so you can imagine the CIA and President Eisenhower, and the president was hands-on involved in this program. They're saying, oh gosh, what has happened? What has happened? This is not good.
Right.
What happened to this person? And so, what are we going to say? But the president is told, don't worry about this. You don't have to worry. The Soviet radar cannot detect anything that high, so they can't see it.
Right.
They don't have missiles that could get that high, so they can't shoot it down. In the event that something went wrong, the pilot has a self-destruct button and will destroy the equipment and the plane beyond any recognition. And the pilot has a silver dollar around his neck that has a neurotoxin on it with a little needle that he is obligated to then
he can kill himself
and poke himself and give himself the neurotoxin, and he will die. So don't worry. They can't find the guy. They can't find the plane. We're good.
Right.
All right, so what are we going to say? So the cover story is NASA, which has nothing to do with this.
Right.
NASA issues a press release. Oh my gosh, everybody. We lost a weather plane. We've lost contact with it. This is not good for us. And they say it was flying, here in this part of the world. And the last thing we know, the pilot lost access to oxygen. He probably he ended up losing consciousness, and his plane may have gone off course. Here's a picture of the plane. And they took one of these U-2 spy planes and they repainted it with NASA logos. They said, this is the plane. So this is what it looks like. Weather plane, nothing to see here. We wish we could find it. Soviet Union says, hey, we found a plane. We found a plane. And we think you, United States, are spying on us. President says, oh my gosh, what do I do here? We deny it. They don't know. They can't know. It's not possible. And so the president denies it. And the Soviet Union, the leader was Nikita Khrushchev. He let the United States, Eisenhower go on with this story, and he laid a trap for him. Let him deny. And then the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev says, oh, well, actually, here's the pilot, and he's alive. And here are the pictures that we developed from these cameras that you guys had on this. And you were clearly taking pictures of us. So it's a hugely embarrassing moment for the United States and our relationship with the Soviet Union at the height of the Cold War. And it was a big, big deal. Eventually, the pilot is sentenced to 10 years in prison and hard labor in the Soviet Union. But he is also then 2 years later exchanged for a Soviet spy.
Wow.
And so the United States gives the Soviet Union back a spy, and they give Francis Gary Powers back to the United States. And in 1977, so Francis Gary Powers comes back, and he has a career as a pilot, including in 1977, he's a helicopter pilot in Los Angeles, and he develops some mechanical issues, and his helicopter goes down, and he dies.
Oh God!
Wow!
Wow!
Quite the story.
Yeah.
So
we are out of time, though. But thank you
yeah.
so much. That was interesting. The neurotoxin thing kind of creeps me out. But Professor Bob Carricker with UL Lafayette's History Department, KPEL News Time 649. Next, we talk to Ryan with Fox News about what's happening with Marjorie Taylor Greene versus Mike Johnson.
Want a relaxing way to spend some time? Louisiana's state parks are right in your own backyard. Spend the day hiking, fishing, biking, and picnicking, or stay overnight at one of our affordable cabins, campsites, or group camps. And tour a state historic site for an educational experience the whole family can enjoy. Call 1-877-226-7652 for more information, or visit www.lastateparks.com. Sponsored by the Louisiana Office of State Parks.
KPEL News Time is 6:52. I'll get it right.
Get it out. Get it out.
Thank God tomorrow's Friday. We're joined with Ryan from Fox News this morning. Once again, Ryan, I didn't dare say your last name because yesterday I believe that I mispronounced it.
I thought you got it right, but that's just me.
Ryan Schmelz, did I say that right?
Schmelz.
Schmelz with no T. Got it.
Yes.
Well, Ryan, we are.
Yes, my fantasy football team is Schmelz like victory.
Clever.
Very good.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Ryan, this morning we want to talk a little bit about Marjorie Taylor Greene, because yesterday she was very vocal again in her desire to oust House Speaker Mike Johnson. But the Democrats have a different idea, which is, to me, it's not surprising, but the fact that they would side any kind of way with the Republicans is to me a little startling. Tell us paint the picture.
Right. So you have a situation where Marjorie Taylor Greene is now going to call for the motion to vacate next week and trigger the vote on it. You are seeing Democrats come out, at least on the leadership side, with Hakeem Jeffries, Catherine Clark, and Pete Aguilar, their top three, all saying that they would support a motion to table the motion to vacate Speaker Johnson. And they believe that one of the reasons is they don't want to let Marjorie Taylor Greene send the House into, quote, chaos. And, you know, they believe that Speaker Johnson did the right thing when he put a series of foreign aid bills on the House floor and allowed members to vote for it individually. So they don't think it's appropriate to be giving Marjorie Taylor Greene, in many ways, this political moment to be able to oust the Speaker of the House. And so Marjorie Taylor Greene, though, even though the votes probably aren't there, believes that this is an opportunity to get everybody on the record. And that's why she's going to go forward with this.
Now, I was reading in an article, tell me if this is inaccurate, that this is not an effort that is actually supported by Trump, although she is a staunch Trump supporter. Is that correct?
It is correct. Donald Trump has said that he stands with the Speaker. He has said that he does not oppose or not support a motion to vacate. He did not support a motion to vacate for Speaker McCarthy either, and he's still very close, it appears, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. So this is not something that Trump is on board with.
So what are the next, because, well, let me stop there and say this. In reading these articles, there are a couple of Republicans who are standing with her, but that group is very small.
It is, but I am curious to see just how many may consider voting for the motion to vacate. There was one lawmaker I talked to yesterday who has been, frustrated with Johnson for a while. And he was trying to figure out, where he's going to go on this motion to vacate over the next, couple days and take the weekend to make this decision. And there were some things that happened this week, including with the anti-Semitism bill that was passed by the House, where a number of hardline Republicans, and there were a number of Democrats who opposed the bill too, but they had issues with some of the language. And they asked Johnson, according to this lawmaker, to make some changes or see if he would make some changes. Johnson told him he would, but then ultimately that bill did not see those changes, and it passed as it was, and that's why you saw some frustrated Republicans, and they said that that's going to probably play into whether or not they're going to vote to oust the speaker or not. But even those who are frustrated with Johnson still don't really feel that this is the best way to go about this. They think the best way to maybe make changes would be to have another leadership election in November, which is what you expect with the new Congress. So we only have 3 members who are hard yeses right now who've signed on to the motion to vacate. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey from Kentucky, and Paul Gosar from Arizona. But will there be more? I'm not quite sure.
This is like playing a chess blindfolded, Ryan. And with that, we could go on forever. Unfortunately, we're short on time, but very good summary there, sir.
Ryan, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Muff.
It's such a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure that we will be talking soon, sooner rather than later. Have a great day, Ryan.
Hey, I sure hope so. Thank you so much, as always.
Okay. KPEL News Time, 6:57.
The Fox Business Report is brought to you by Gulf Coast Bank, your local community bank. Whether your financial needs are for an individual, a business, or for the whole family, Gulf Coast Bank has the knowledge and products to serve you best. With 9 convenient locations throughout Acadiana, you're never far from a friendly Gulf Coast Bank associate.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Novo Nordisk, the maker of weight loss medications Wegovy and Ozempic, saw its profit jump in the recent quarter. The company says Wegovy sales more than doubled and Ozempic sales were up 42%, though the stock is lower. Online car seller Carvana shares are rallying up 36%. Its earnings were the best in company history, and Carvana is even more optimistic about the future. Energy giant Shell is reporting a weaker quarter, but the decline was smaller than expected, and Shell stock is up 1%. Fed Chair Jerome Powell calmed concerns about interest rates moving even higher by saying a rate increase is not being considered right now, and Powell says he believes inflation will resume its decline. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosolda, invested in you.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Studios.
This is a Fox News alert. It's police versus protesters at UCLA. I'm Dave Anthony.
Just beyond this line of police, that's where the protesters are. They've lined up as well, probably 2 or 3 deep, and we have police here 2 or 3 deep right here, and there's going to be a confrontation. It's been a standoff.
Right. Fox's William Lajeunesse right there on campus. Where in addition to all those bangs the last few hours, there appears to be tear gas as officers keep tearing down a pro-Palestinian encampment, taking some protesters out in zip ties.
Well, police have moved about 1,000 students out of this area. Now, I will tell you, having been here for 3 days, as you mentioned, this was an unlawful assembly 2 days ago, and the university did nothing and allowed these people to reinforce themselves.
Some faculty are there outside now supporting the student protesters. UCLA professor Nir Hoffman is not. He's Jewish and tells Fox he was attacked the other day.
This was never peaceful. Jews were not allowed to go in to the campus. Jews were not allowed to go into the library. Jews were not allowed to go to classes.
There are no in-person classes today. UCLA says it'll be remote learning only. Former President Trump campaigning in Michigan and Wisconsin on an off day in his criminal trial called on all college campuses to take down encampments.
Vanquish the radicals and take back our campuses for all of the normal students who want a safe place from which to learn.
As for the war in Gaza, which these protests are all about, Hamas appears to be giving a thumbs down to a new ceasefire proposal with Israel.
The terms haven't been confirmed, but they appear to center on a 40-day truce with around 33 Israeli hostages being released in exchange for hundreds of prisoners held by Israel. Hamas wants an end to the war, not just a pause in fighting.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Back to former President Trump. He'll soon return to court in New York City for more testimony at his criminal trial and another hearing in a more gag order violation violations. The former president calls that unconstitutional, claiming he's being persecuted and silenced. America's listening to Fox News.
The global elites are waging a war on our financial freedom. They want to control our future through digital currencies and a cashless society. By eliminating cash, they can track every transaction, impose negative interest rates, and even freeze accounts at will. But patriots are fighting back by investing in physical gold. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon here. I believe gold is the answer. It safeguards your wealth better than any other asset. And even better, with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group, you can move your retirement savings into tangible, real gold without paying taxes or penalties. Rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into physical gold could be the smartest financial move you ever make. To learn more, get your free info kit from Birch Gold by texting PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to 989898. Take a stand for your financial future. Text PROTECT to 989898 right now to receive your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the Cape Hill News app. Now the headlines from the Cape Hill News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wertz with a look at news on this Thursday, May 2nd. We start in Baton Rouge, where a House vote on whether to hold a constitutional convention was tabled Wednesday after legislators expressed concerns. After discussion, New Iberia Representative Bo Boye amended his bill to protect homestead exemption and ensure his fellow representatives that private funds would not be used for the convention. Boye also amended the legislation so the K-12 public school financing formula is protected. After a closed-door meeting with legislators on Tuesday, Governor Jeff Landry's administration will be participating in the federal summer of feeding program for needy children, reversing his earlier position. The administration initially said the state lacked funds needed to cover the administrative cost of the program, but last week, the House voted to include $3.6 million to make up the difference. At least 250,000 children will be served by the $71 million from the federal government. Beginning June 4th, eligible families will receive an extra $40 per month in EBT during the summer months. The NAACP filed a motion on Wednesday to appeal the ruling by a judicial panel that says Louisiana should toss the redrawn congressional map adopted by the legislature in January, and that fight is going to the U.S. Supreme Court. The federal judges in Louisiana cited violations of the 14th Amendment, saying the map represents impermissible racial gerrymandering. Congressman Garrett Graves, whose district was altered in the most recent version, was among the plaintiffs who filed suit against the map. The Secretary of State's office has stood firm on a May 15th deadline for a map to be finalized in time for the fall election. Louisiana is the only state without a finalized congressional map. A meeting is set for Monday in Shreveport to figure out the best path forward. ATM thieves have struck again, this time in Vermilion Parish. At about 2 o'clock Wednesday morning, someone crashed into Longyaw's Grocery in Gaydon. The store is owned by the town's police chief. The thieves followed the same pattern as in previous ATM robberies in Acadiana. They used a stolen pickup truck that deputies found abandoned in a field. The ATM was in the bed of the truck along with building materials from the store. Anyone with information is asked to call the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Department. A St. Martinville man was taken into custody in Lafayette for sexual violence charges filed against him in Alabama. 31-year-old Bobby Bergeron Jr. was extradited to DeKalb County and faces charges of first-degree rape, second-degree rape, first-degree sexual battery, and first-degree sodomy. Alabama authorities expressed gratitude to the U.S. Marshals and the Lafayette Office of the Department of Children and Family Services for assisting in Bergeron's arrest. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wertz. Your KPEL News Update brought to you by Home Furniture Plus Bedding, with over 40,000 furniture and mattress choices in stock and ready for delivery. Home Furniture Plus Bedding. Welcome.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today, with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight lows going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning. As sloppy commute to work Friday morning is expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5. KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We're showing an accident, Kali Saloom at Ambassador. That's going to be causing a mess, and that just happened a few minutes ago. So be careful in that area. Of course, traffic may be slowed down. Current temperature 76 degrees. KPEL News Time 7:09.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning and welcome back into Acadiana's Morning News on this Thursday, May the 2nd. You know, Mark, before we get into our Lafayette Live, I do have to say thank you to his handle on our app is Rocketman J from St. Martinville. We talked about the fact that it's International Harry Potter Day today, and I named Slytherin, I named Gryffindor. No, I didn't name Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and he said Gryffindor, and then now I'm going to forget the other one. But anyway, I call myself a huge Harry Potter fan. I think I just lost my Harry Potter card.
Rocket Man's looking out for you.
That's right.
That's the point.
Thank you, Rocket Man. Anyway, we are going to get into Lafayette Live this morning. Joining us are some folks from Lafayette Parks and Recreation to talk about several things happening. We have Calvin and Alina. I said that right, huh? I did. All right, Calvin Kemp is runs the tennis programs at Beaver and Moore Park, and you're like even dressed for tennis. It's fabulous. I can see you with a racket in your hand, Calvin. So tell us about the tennis programs going on at those parks.
Yes, so I manage the tennis parks at Beaver Park and Thomas Park, not Moore Park. Moore Park is
I said it wrong.
Park.
Beaver Park and Thomas. Okay.
No, it's okay. No problem. So everything's going really good at the tennis parks. And this month, actually nationwide, is National Tennis Month. And in order to help promote the summer camps. So this month, we have a couple of free events for the community to come out and be able to try to play tennis. So we've rented the amphitheater in Monkus Park to be able to promote tennis to a different demographic. And so on May 19th, which is a Sunday from 12 to 4 p.m., we will be out there and you guys can come out and try to play tennis with us.
Do they need to bring their own racket if they don't have one?
Absolutely not. We'll provide all the equipment. All they have to do is show up and be ready to play.
Okay, so I have to ask you, how did you get into tennis?
So I got involved in playing tennis because when I was a kid, my grandfather decided to pay for me to play tennis and golf over the summer because he said those were the two networking sports. And so that's how I got involved in playing tennis. I absolutely enjoyed it from that moment on and continued to play, was able to play in college on a scholarship, play professionally, travel all over the world.
Really?
I homeschooled to play tennis. I'm not saying that's going to be everybody's route, but the sport is a great sport for introducing kids to a different lifestyle.
Where'd you go to college?
So I went 1 year to UNO, and then I transferred back to Georgia.
Nice. Okay.
Now, one of those tennis courts or parks rather is under construction right now, correct?
Absolutely. So we were super excited about the reconstruction of the courts at Thomas Park. That's going on right now. Those courts should be done within a week or two. The community is very excited about that. Those courts have been needing some TLC, but we have lots of activity at both parks, at Beaver Park as well as Thomas Park.
Now, do residents or anyone who wants to use the park, do they have to reserve them, or if it's empty, can they just go play? How does that work?
Correct. So right now at both facilities, there's a big difference between managed facilities and unmanaged facilities. At the managed facilities, which are the two parks that Acadiana serves manage, you do need to reserve the courts because we run lessons, program, leagues, tournaments. This weekend, we actually have the state championship with about 500 or 600 players coming in from all over Louisiana coming in. And this is why we need to make sure we know who's using the courts because we have lots of events for the community.
That's neat. Now, I notice here in the notes that Kaylee gave us, you have adaptive tennis programs.
Absolutely. We're super excited about this. So adaptive tennis is what we call tennis for people that have intellectual disabilities or physical disabilities. We're the only ones in the area that are currently offering this program. And so we're super excited about this. We have about 10 to 15 participants right now, and we're also the only organization in this part of Louisiana that's Special Olympics certified. And so we want to bring tennis to the whole community, and that includes everybody, every age, every demographic, even physical or intellectual disabilities. And so this is one of our huge focuses with this program.
What does that adaptive tennis program look like?
Absolutely. So adaptive tennis is essentially adjusting the sport so that anyone and everybody can enjoy the sport. So if that means using smaller equipment, slower tennis balls, even smaller modified spaces so that everybody can play tennis. I know right now in the world, pickleball is going crazy, but the concept of pickleball has been around in the tennis community for a very long time. This is how we introduce new players, older players, or adaptive athletes, where we play with smaller spaces, slower balls, so everybody can enjoy the sport.
Now, if someone wants to go and try their hand at tennis, of course you have that event going on in later this month. Correct. But is there equipment to rent? Is equipment available if someone doesn't want to go invest in it because they aren't sure that it's something they're going to stick with?
Absolutely. So throughout the year, we offer what we call try events, where all of those events are free to the community, and we do them for every age group from 4 years old all the way up to 94 years old. At all of those events, we provide all the equipment as well as the court and the balls. We also have an incredibly great beginner tennis program called Tennis Apprentice that we offer 4 times a year. And we do it in partnership with Ochsner. It's $75 for 8 weeks of tennis classes.
Wow.
Which is a very good deal because tennis lessons, an individual tennis lesson could cost as much as $75. We also offer a free tennis racket with that program.
Oh, neat.
And we do that for kids and adults, and we're going to have a junior tennis apprentice class coming this fall as well.
That is amazing.
Wow.
You guys have it going on. I mean, I am completely impressed.
So Ochsner provides the tennis rackets?
No. So the organization that provides the tennis rackets is the same organization that's behind the National Tennis Month. They're also the same organization that hosts the U.S. Open, the big tournament that everybody knows of in New York. They want to promote grassroots tennis. And so one of the vehicles for doing that is this Tennis Apprentice program. The partnership with Ochsner is to provide it to a larger base of people in the community.
Nice.
That's just fascinating. So if they want more information about not just playing tennis on one of the courts, but any of the programs you talked about, is that on the website? Where can they find that?
Absolutely. So we have a very good social media presence. You can find us at acadianaserve.com. That's our website, or Acadiana Serve on any social media platform to find out more information about all the junior programs, adult programs, beginner programs, and every other outlet to be able to play tennis.
And the information about the event at Munkus Park, that's there as well?
Absolutely.
All right. Calvin, thank you so much.
Thank you
that
for
really
having
is
me.
fascinating. We are going to continue our discussion about park. I still call it Lafayette Parks. With Alina, who is Alina Fields. She's also with Park, and she's going to talk specifically about summer programs, but also some of the other programs that they have at facilities, not just for children, but for seniors, and where you can find a list of events. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes. KPEL News Time is 7:18.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight lows going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning. A sloppy commute to work Friday morning is expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We have an accident, 6900 block of Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. That's on the extension just east of South Bernard Road. We have an accident, Almonaster at Mayor Lucas Denai Road in Youngsville. Still showing that accident, Kali Saloom at Ambassador Caffrey. Be careful if you are going slow, stuck in traffic. Well, that would be why. Current temperature is 76 degrees. KPEL News Time is 7:22 on this Wednesday, May the 2nd. Lafayette Live on Thursday mornings. And, of course, every other week we are joined by Lafayette Mayor President Monique Blanco-Boulay. And then the alternate weeks we are joined by someone from the administration doing things really in the community, on the ground, specific to whether it's a deal with infrastructure, quality of life. And today we are talking to Alina Fields. We just visited with Calvin Kemp, who runs the tennis programs at Beaver and Thomas Parks. But Alina, you have a lot on your plate right now, especially with summer knocking on our door, right?
Yeah, I sure do.
Pull that microphone as close as you can. There you go.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So first of all, let's talk about summer camps, because you guys have several that are lined up, especially for children.
We do. And it's that time where parents are really looking for places for the kids to go and while, we can work, right? So we will have 3 locations available for parents this year at Como Recreational Center, at Robichaux, and also at MLK.
Okay.
And it will be hosted and led by KidCam.
Okay.
If you don't know about KidCam, it's been around for 50 years. And we're really excited to have this partnership with KidCam because of that. They really know the ins and outs of what kids need, and also the camp culture.
Yeah.
So it's really a great opportunity for families and kids to bond locally, with this experience with KidCam. But it's a franchise, so it gives you that national exposure. So maybe if you travel and you meet kids from other places, you can connect and say, hey, you know what? I went to that camp too, because it's offered in several states across the country.
And if they do it well, don't reinvent the wheel, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
What did you mean when you said 3 locations for parents? Explain that a little more, please.
So we have a total of 8 recreational centers across the city. 8 open, I'll say that, 10 total, that are most frequented by people, right, all across the city. There are 3 locations that will be available for a summer camp. And they're strategically located in a central area, right in the north and the south side. So Como Recreational Center is on the south side. And then we have Robichaux, which is a lot more centrally located, right here off of ERAS. And then MLK on the north end of town gives us that opportunity to also have the camp there, too. So those are our 3 options available this summer.
And we, if you go to our website and you just search summer camps, we put each of the locations with links and dates and times. But as I look through them, they're essentially all summer.
Yes, which is what we need, right, as parents.
Mm-hmm.
And the early drop-off and late pickup option is really awesome, too. So the camp times are from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., but KidCam also gives the option to bring your kids at 7 You know, I have to be to work for 8. Most parents have to be to work for 8 or earlier. So you really need that early drop-off option. And then the late pickup is at 6 p.m.
Oh, well, that's good because, if you get off at 5,
right,
it might take you a hot minute to get where you need to get to collect your children.
Right, exactly. And another good point I want to call out is the price point. KidCam is really an amazing program where all day you're not just dropping your kid off and they're just sitting there. The program is very robust. From the time your kid gets there to the time they leave, they are doing a lot of activities. And the price point is typically on the higher side because it's field trips, all the food is included, and they really go all out on the field trip side. And they are very selective. This is an nationally accredited camp. And the hiring process for who is with your kids is pre-screened, and it's a very thought through process that has to hold up to that accreditation.
Right.
So typically the cost is $140 a week.
Wow.
And for most parents, it's like, oh, that's a ouch, right? But because of our partnership, the cost is reduced to $100
a week.
A week.
Okay.
So that really, and that includes all of your food for your kids, all of the programming, and you don't have to come out of pocket every time you're going on a field trip.
Right.
So that's really big.
Do you let's say parents are saying we're going to be going on vacation. Do you have to pay during a week if you don't go?
You do not, and that's a great asset, right? So the weeks that you're not attending, you do not have to pay, and you can schedule. Let's say you want to be home. You scheduled a vacation just to be home with your kids to spend time and do certain things that week. You don't have to schedule that week. And you can also set up an account where you can drop some money in there. Maybe you have more money this week than the other week, and you can just plan your payments. Or other people can pay into that account to help offset your costs because you have that set up for your families.
So you mentioned, Alina, that you're using, is this the first year that LCG Park Department has used the KidCam
Great question.
program?
Last year was, I considered like a test run just to see how it flows, what would be the take rate. We did at Como last year, and I've gotten amazing feedback. So the choice was to go with the program that the parents are really liking and taking to, and let's expand it. Let's expand it where we can have easier access for more people.
Well, why don't you expand and expound, because you mentioned KidCam is a franchise and they're national, and you said something along the lines of benefit from their experience. So they have experiences with working with different age groups, all the agendas, all the field trips, probably have their own buses and insurance.
Yes.
Everybody's highly trained and experienced. Is that correct?
50 years. They're celebrating their 50-year anniversary this year. So it's great to be able to partner with someone who's been doing it that long, who really gets it, and such a tight-knit management style experience as a parent. I want to know what my kid is doing at what time. I want to know exactly where they're going, who they're with, and that there's a lot of retired teachers. It's and really a great summer job for the community. So that's another thing I do want to call out is that there are links online for summer jobs.
Oh, nice.
So that our teachers locally can apply and have some summer work. If you maybe want to direct a camp, it's some really good pay too.
Wow. Do you take old guys who are in good shape?
Hey, come help with the kids.
Well, our segment is coming to an end, but also make sure that you go to the website for senior activities because it's not limited to kids. Also, you have monthly calendars, center brochures, that sort of thing. Is the website or a social media, which one should they go to?
So all of our programming is on our LCG page at LafayetteLA.gov. Once you go to the government directory, you want to click on Park Arts, the park, the recreation site. And within that, there are centers and activities. We have so much going on. We have the Greenhouse and the Rose House Senior Center, which is for 55 and above.
I've been to the Greenhouse to do stories and stuff. That is fabulous.
Yes. And
I think I might be of the age that I could. No.
I'm almost there. Yeah.
I'm sure you've looked at the agenda, so maybe give us a little taste. You said field trips. Have you looked at the agenda? Are you familiar enough with it to say what would be an example of some field trips that?
Are you going back to Kid?
Yeah,
going back to Kid Cam. Yeah,
yes.
Because field trips, where are they going to go?
So a big plus is they actually own the Epic play area, the Epic station. So that is a field trip with the rides outdoor. They're really like doing like amusement park stuff, you know, in our local area. Bowling, swimming. They actually have a lot of outdoor programming as well, but it's just nonstop. The library, the science museum, all of our local attractions that we would want to bring our kids to and keep them not just have fun, but educated with some like the science museum,
right?
And kind of play around with things that while they're learning. So all of that are things and examples of field trips that they do.
And learning social skills without a device. Can I get an amen? Thank y'all so much to Calvin and to Alina with Park. Again, LafayetteLA.gov if you need to find any of the information about these programs. Thank you. We appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
KPEL News Time, 7:32.
This is House Call for Health. Some health experts are calling for closing time on research that promotes drinking moderate amounts of alcohol for health benefits. This after new research showing just one standard drink of alcohol, which is a 12-ounce beer or 5-ounce glass of wine, could lead to negative health impacts. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says consuming any alcohol can increase the risk of cancer because the body breaks it down into a chemical called acetaldehyde, which damages cells and prevents them from making repairs. Some doctors also advise against older research suggesting possible benefits to moderate drinking. The UK, France, and Denmark are among countries investigating the benefits of consuming less alcohol, while Ireland will require cancer warning labels on alcohol starting in 2026. The CDC recommends community strategies such as increasing alcohol taxes and restricting hours of sale to limit excessive alcohol use. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
This hour brought to you by Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management. Online at MatthewJames.com.
Your 24/7 news source. On air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wertz with a look at news on this Thursday, May 2nd. We start in Baton Rouge, where a House vote on whether to hold a constitutional convention was tabled Wednesday after legislators expressed concerns. After discussion, New Iberia Representative Bo Boye amended his bill to protect homestead exemption and ensure his fellow representatives that private funds would not be used for the convention. Boye also amended the legislation so the K-12 public school financing formula is protected. After a closed-door meeting with legislators on Tuesday, Governor Jeff Landry's administration will be participating in the federal summer feeding program for needy children, reversing his earlier position. The administration initially said the state lacked funds needed to cover the administrative cost of the program, but last week, the House voted to include $3.6 million to make up the difference. At least 250,000 children will be served by the $71 million from the federal government. Beginning June 4th, eligible families will receive an extra $40 per month in EBT during the summer months. The NAACP filed a motion on Wednesday to appeal the ruling by a judicial panel that says Louisiana should toss the redrawn congressional map adopted by the legislature in January, and that fight is going to the U.S. Supreme Court. The federal judges in Louisiana cited violations of the 14th Amendment, saying the map represents impermissible racial gerrymandering. Congressman Garrett Graves, whose district was altered in the most recent version, was among the plaintiffs who filed suit against the map. Prior to Tuesday's ruling, Baton Rouge Senator Cleo Fields announced that he would run for the 6th district based on the map state lawmakers approved in January. Fields says it's time for the Supreme Court to settle the matter. The Secretary of State's office has stood firm on a May 15th deadline for a map to be finalized in time for the fall election. Congressman Garrett Graves says he is running for re-election in the 6th district. Louisiana is the only state without a finalized congressional map. A meeting is set for Monday in Shreveport to figure out the best path forward. ATM thieves have struck again, this time in Vermilion Parish. At about 2 o'clock Wednesday morning, someone crashed into Longyaw's Grocery in Gaydon. The store is owned by the town's police chief. The thieves followed the same pattern as in previous ATM robberies in Acadiana. They used a stolen pickup truck that deputies found abandoned in a field. The ATM was in the bed of the truck along with building materials from the store. Anyone with information is asked to call the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Department. A St. Martinville man was taken into custody in Lafayette for sexual violence charges filed against him in Alabama. 31-year-old Bobby Bergeron Jr. was extradited to DeKalb County and faces charges of first-degree rape, second-degree rape, first-degree sexual battery, and first-degree sodomy. Alabama authorities expressed gratitude to the U.S. Marshals and the Lafayette office of the Department of Children and Family Services for assisting in Bergeron's arrest. The man convicted in the killing of Garen Lewis in 2019 will spend the rest of his life in prison. Duke John Lewis conspired with others and shot the New Iberia senior high student because they believed he was a member of a rival gang, which he was not. Garen was on his way to pick up his girlfriend for a date when he was shot in the head. The victim was the son of New Iberia community activist Raymond Shudu Lewis. The Rolling Stones kick off the second weekend of Jazz Fest with a special performance at the New Orleans Fairgrounds at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Jazz Fest producer Quint Davis says the legendary rock band was booked to play at Jazz Fest in 2019, but Mick Jagger had heart issues. That was rescheduled for 2020, but canceled because of COVID. The Rolling Stones are just one of many great artists scheduled to play this weekend. Foo Fighters, Neil Young, and Queen Latifah are also on the schedule. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Ward.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight lows going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning. Is sloppy commute to work Friday morning is expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We have an accident on Avenue A in Youngsville. Another accident on Ambassador Caffrey. That's at the extension just east of South Bernard Road and Broussard, that is. Almonaster and Mayor Lucas Denai Road. We have an accident showing up. Be careful in all those areas. A very humid morning this morning, 76 degrees. KPEL News Time is 7:43 on this Thursday morning. It is May the 2nd. It is National Day of Prayer. It is also Sola Giving Day. Don't forget to go to solagivingday.org. Check out all of the different organizations. I believe there are 173, and that if that's daunting, then find something that you're passionate about. Maybe it's children, maybe it's education, maybe it's pets, maybe it's domestic violence prevention. Just so many different options for where you can give during Sola Giving Day. And a lot of organizations really count on the dollars that they're able to raise. Yesterday, the Louisiana House decided to table for now the decision on having a constitutional convention. Remember, the proposal by New Iberia Representative Bo Boye would have the convention starting in just 18 days on May 20th and running through June the 3rd. They would have the option to extend that constitutional convention until mid-July. Early estimates that came out of the House Appropriations Committee day before yesterday earlier this week, were about $63,000 to pay for a constitutional convention if it ran from May 20th until June 3rd. Representative Bo Boye did tell committee members that if it ran through the middle of July, it could cost as much as $1.5 million. Now, they have talked about in the committee meetings having donations cover some of the cost of that. That was not qualified in those early stories, but Representative Bo Boye did tell the full House yesterday, because that was a question. He said, our convention is not for sale. Our convention has never been for sale. And that he removed a language in the bill that went to the House that would have allowed for private funding, rather, to pay for the convention. And for obvious reasons, because the optics on that are not good at all. If you have particular organizations coming in or businesses coming in and offering money to pay for the convention, and you know how the whole lobbying thing goes. Also, in the amendments, Boye amended the legislation so that K through 12 public school funding, that formula, cannot be touched. And there was some concern early that it would affect the homestead exemption in the state. And he said, no, that is absolutely protected. And he went ahead and amended the language to make sure that that happened. There has been concern, a lot of concern, mostly from Democrats, but also from some Republicans, that they feel like this process is really being rushed. On its face, Governor Jeff Landry, Bo Boye have all said that this is simply to move amendments from the Constitution into state law, which allows more flexibility for legislators. As we're seeing emerge through this process, though, there are things that are of concern, and you wonder if it wasn't thought all the way through. Something that was brought up by one legislator just a couple of weeks ago was they wanted to see a detailed description, agenda, plan for what would be considered in that constitutional convention. And it's likely for reasons just like this. I think that there is agreement across the board that there should be a constitutional convention. Again, the concern is the timing, and that they want to move it through quickly. The last constitutional convention, which was in 1973 under then Governor Edwin Edwards, that was about a 2-year process. So the fact that they're trying to get this done in essentially 2.5, 3 weeks, 6 weeks at the outset is concerning to several legislators and some members of the public as well. We will see if they will bring that back and if they will, in fact, vote on it. And then it faces the Senate, where the chatter is that there may not be as big an appetite to have the Constitutional Convention as quickly as Representative Bo Boye is recommending, suggesting, proposing. So we will continue to follow that, because we're talking about state law and it's something that affects all of us in the long run. KPEL News Time, 7:48.
Securing America.
During a forum Wednesday with the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the Vice Chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Christopher Grady, reflected on the state of the world from both a geopolitical and military point of view. And he admitted that no matter what strategy U.S. military leaders put into place, change is always a constant.
The world gets a vote on these things.
Adding that the wars in Ukraine and Gaza and the unsettled state of affairs in many other locations often lead to changes in focus, but that leaders have to accept the fact that bad guys still exist.
Authoritarian regimes who do bad things that are contrary to the rules-based international order are a reality.
The Admiral also says the threats are no longer just posed by countries.
Non-state actors like the Houthis that have a huge and outsized impact on the international environment.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Implicit bias. We like it because, well, we like it. We take pride in Catholic conservative guy stuff. So this Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon, grab a weekly whiskey and see if your implicit bias aligns with ours. Implicit Bias, Saturdays, 10 a.m., News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight low is going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning. A sloppy commute to work Friday morning is expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We're still showing that accident, Almonaster and Mayor Lucas Denai Road in Youngsville and Kali Salumet Ambassador. Hopefully that has been moved off the roadway. Current temperature 76 degrees. KBEL News Time is 7:53 on this Thursday, May the 2nd. Tracy Ward's in with you. Mark will join us again in the next hour, as well as some members of our law enforcement community. Today, we're going to be visited by Vermilion Parish Law Enforcement. Eddie Longlinay, the sheriff-elect, will be in. And St. Landry Parish, it's the day of the Eddies today. Eddie Longlinay and Eddie Thibodeau. The Louisiana legislature rolls up their sleeves and gets back to work today. But we talked briefly earlier about the Constitutional Convention bill kind of being on the table with amendments in the House. Meanwhile, still up in the air is Louisiana's congressional maps. On Tuesday, a 3-judge panel rejected the maps that were passed by the legislature, signed by Governor Jeff Landry in January. Not long after that, a group of self-described non-African American people filed suit against the maps, calling it gerrymandering, racial gerrymandering. And 2 members of the 3-judge panel agreed that that was, in fact, the case. Now, last night we heard that the NAACP has filed a lawsuit and asked the U.S. Supreme Court to review this. Attorney General Liz Murrill is also going to be seeking an opinion from the Supreme Court. She says, quote, the jurisprudence and litigation involving redistricting has made it impossible to not have federal judges drawing maps. It's not right, and they need to fix it. Again, this will go to, or at this point, it's headed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Will they hear it? Well, that remains to be seen. This all harkens back to the Voting Rights Act that mandated that Louisiana have 2 of its 6 districts be majority-minority districts. And that translated to mostly black because 30% of Louisiana's population is African-American as well. Coming up next hour, again, we will talk to our law enforcement friends. Looking forward to having some chats with them about things happening in their communities. KPEL News Time, 7:56.
Media Minute with Howard Kurtz.
I've been complaining for a long time that President Biden avoids the media, avoids television cameras, surrenders the bully pulpit. Right now, it's particularly egregious with violence on so many college campuses. Donald Trump, after a full day in court, called into Fox the other night and denounced the anti-Semitic hatred and said that Joe Biden is supposed to be the voice of our country. We are not hearing that voice right now. The violence has spread to places like Utah and New Mexico. At UCLA, you had 2 groups of protesters beating each other with weapons and chemical spray. At Columbia, which finally belatedly called in the NYPD, a building was taken over and had to be liberated. The only thing Biden said on camera is 2 brief sentences in response to reporters' questions. We are waiting to hear from our president. With your Media Minute, Howie Kurtz, Fox News.
This Fox Business Report is brought to you by Walter Campbell and Deborah Pierce of Keller Williams Realty. For all of your commercial property needs, reach out to Walter and Deborah today.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report. Wayfair shares are up nearly 4% on upbeat comments about the business. The home furnishings company continued to lose money in the recent quarter, but the loss was much smaller than a year ago, and Wayfair sees its business on an upswing, with suppliers introducing large groups of new products. Burger chain Shake Shack reported a mostly upbeat quarter. It made a profit after losing money a year ago. Wendy's says its breakfast business is helping, and it expects to meet its goals for the year. Peloton Interactive is replacing its CEO as the company continues to see its stock price decline. Energy giant Shell is buying back $3.5 billion worth of stock. Its earnings declined, but the drop was smaller than forecast. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola. Invested in you.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Acadiana drivers, did you know that bicycles are considered vehicles under Louisiana law? Cyclists have the right to use the roadway same as motor vehicles. You're urged to share the road by giving a buffer zone of at least 3 feet when passing a cyclist. Yield to cyclists as you would another motorist. And remember, a cyclist does not have the protection of a vehicle if they're in a crash. Protect your fellow citizens on bicycles. This announcement was brought to you by Bike Lafayette. Learn more at bikelafayette.org.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Studios.
This is a Fox News alert. Another pro-Palestinian encampment taken down on another college campus. I'm Dave Anthony. It's at UCLA.
I'm inside the camp. These are what's left of the tents. Most of them have been taken down by police as they came through. They pushed most of the protesters there. They pushed all of them out of this encampment. They're up against the wall.
Fox's William Lajeunesse has been watching all this unfold the last few hours.
And the cops are big. They got their vests on. They know what they're doing. And even though these guys were there with shields and things like this and helmets and their gas masks, boom, they were gone.
And as dawn breaks now in Los Angeles, some protesters in zip ties have been unmasked, taken away, but not all of those demonstrators have been rounded up.
They locked arms. They continued to chant, "Free, free Palestine." I think you can still hear that.
A UCLA student, Eliana Jolkowski, just told Fox this morning that this continues and there have been chants of anti-Semitism. One of her friends, who's also Jewish, was even attacked by protesters. She says they appear to have been bussed on campus, and some of them, not all of them, are students. Now, former President Trump campaigned in Michigan and in Wisconsin, saying the pro-Palestinian protests have got to stop.
To every college president, I say remove the encampments immediately.
Now, he is about to arrive in court once again in New York City.
Former President Trump could be looking at more sanctions as his criminal trial resumes in New York City, where the judge in his hush money case holds another contempt hearing, this time involving 4 more alleged gag order violations. Judge Juan Merchan's imposed a $9,000 fine for 9 separate violations he found Tuesday.
Fox's Lillian Wu, the former president, calls that order unconstitutional, claiming he's been silenced in this case and persecuted. President Biden will campaign in North Carolina today. He'll go to Charlotte and meet with relatives of the law enforcement officer shot and killed this week trying to make an arrest. America's listening to Fox News.
The global elites are waging a war on our financial freedom. They want to control our future through digital currencies and a cashless society. By eliminating cash, they can track every transaction, impose negative interest rates, and even freeze accounts at will. But patriots are fighting back by investing in physical gold. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon here. I believe gold is the answer. It safeguards your wealth better than any other asset. And even better, with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group, you can move your retirement savings into tangible, real gold without paying taxes or penalties. Rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into physical gold could be the smartest financial move you ever make. To learn more, get your free info kit from Birch Gold by texting PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to 989898. 9898. Take a stand for your financial future. Text PROTECT to 989898 right now to receive your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group.
Message.
Your 24/7 news source on air, online, and with the Cape Hill News app. Now the headlines from the Cape Hill News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wertz with a look at news on this Thursday, May 2nd. We start in Baton Rouge, where a House vote on whether to hold a constitutional convention was tabled Wednesday after legislators expressed concerns. After discussion, New Iberia Representative Bo Boye amended his bill to protect homestead exemption and ensure his fellow representatives that private funds would not be used for the convention. Boye also amended the legislation so the K-12 public school financing formula is protected. After a closed-door meeting with legislators on Tuesday, Governor Jeff Landry's administration will be participating in the federal summer feeding program for needy children, reversing his earlier position. The administration initially said the state lacked funds needed to cover the administrative cost of the program, but last week, the House voted to include $3.6 million to make up the difference. At least 250,000 children will be served by the $71 million from the federal government. Beginning June 4th, eligible families will receive an extra $40 per month in EBT during the summer months. The NAACP filed a motion on Wednesday to appeal the ruling by a judicial panel that says Louisiana should toss the redrawn congressional map adopted by the legislature in January, and that fight is going to the U.S. Supreme Court. The federal judges in Louisiana cited violations of the 14th Amendment, saying the map represents impermissible racial gerrymandering. Congressman Garrett Graves, whose district was altered in the most recent version, was among the plaintiffs who filed suit against the map. The Secretary of State's office has stood firm on a May 15th deadline for a map to be finalized in time for the fall election. Louisiana is the only state without a finalized congressional map. A meeting is set for Monday in Shreveport to figure out the best path forward. ATM thieves have struck again, this time in Vermilion Parish. At about 2 o'clock Wednesday morning, someone crashed into Longyaws Grocery in Gaydon. The store is owned by the town's police chief. The thieves followed the same pattern as in previous ATM robberies in Acadiana. They used a stolen pickup truck that deputies found abandoned in a field. The ATM was in the bed of the truck along with building materials from the store. Anyone with information is asked to call the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Department. A St. Martinville man was taken into custody in Lafayette for sexual violence charges filed against him in Alabama. 31-year-old Bobby Bergeron Jr. was extradited to DeKalb County and faces charges of first-degree rape, second-degree rape, first-degree sexual battery, and first-degree sodomy. Alabama authorities expressed gratitude to the U.S. Marshals and the Lafayette Office of the Department of Children and Family Services for assisting in Bergeron's arrest. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wertz.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight lows going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning as sloppy commute to work Friday morning is expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening. The rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Okie dokie. We're showing a vehicle fire at Ambassador Caffrey and Kali Saloon right now. If that is, in fact, happening, that's going to be causing some big slowdowns. Current temperature, 76 degrees. KPEL News Time, 8:09. Good morning. Welcome back into Acadiana's Morning News. Tracy Wertz, Mark Pope, and on Thursdays in the 8 o'clock hour, we are visited by our law enforcement friends across Acadiana, and we are so excited about that so that you can know what's going on in your parish, too. Today, Vermilion Parish in the house, as the kids say. We have Eddie Longnane and Lon, who... he's not going anywhere. Eddie, welcome. Thank you guys both for being here. All right. excuse me. Got to address the elephant in the room. We had it on the news this morning. Another ATM theft. Blame to me, but it's the first one in Vermilion Parish. And let me tell you what, that one's just bizarre. Number one, because the level of just, I'll call it devastation at that store was ridiculous. We've seen it at a couple of stores over in St. Landry Parish. But the store's owned by the Gaydon police chief.
That's correct. Yeah, crew. Well, good morning, everybody. And thank you, Tracy, for I guess, putting the hex on us for that one.
You're welcome.
Because we talked about it the last time we were here, and we were kind of, I guess we were boasting a little bit too much about how we hadn't had an ATM theft. But Chief Crew Delcom, which is a true friend of ours, he had him and his wife, his family owns a store in Longons, and that the store was hit for that ATM, and just the damage, the devastation that he's suffering from that is incredible. So our hearts go out to Crew and his family, because that's a main support for his family.
Now, I know we're not going to get too far into it because y'all are still investigating and so forth, but I was in email contact with the person. Is it Sammy Laporte?
That's correct.
Okay, yeah. Sent out the news release, et cetera, and I requested some more pictures because you guys did show the pictures on social media, which, I think really just gives the public an idea of how.
Right.
I mean, just a complete disregard for everything. We want the ATM. Doesn't matter how we get it, and doesn't matter what we heard on the way through. Yeah. I know the truck was found. If and when you guys release that, is that going to help, do you think, get you further in the investigation?
Well, what I can say, Tracy, is we've already been in contact with, obviously, Chief Delcom.
Mm-hmm.
The store is a pinnacle point for Gaydon.
Right.
Let's just be honest. It's a rural area. That store is important to everybody. So I think the citizens of Gaydon and the parish want to get this solved. We've been in talks with other agencies. It's a team effort. They've helped.
Mm-hmm.
We have the best of the best working on it. The best thing I can say is if there's somebody out there who've seen, heard something, give us a call. We may know the information already because we are actively working it. But whether it's 337-898-4403 for the investigations, or as I'm going to take Eddie's thunder for Crime Stoppers, 740-TIPS.
Okay.
Your tip is truly anonymous. No one can get your name or your personal information.
Right.
But if your tip can lead to an arrest, you definitely can get some kind of reward. So we definitely urge the public. I mean, this is something that we take seriously. You're correct. The devastation is
it's just
ridiculous.
I mean, it was obliterated.
Correct.
It looked like a bomb had gone off. It was horrible. Yeah. If you haven't seen the pictures,
and look,
we have on our website.
That store is it's an institution. It's been there for so long. I jokingly refer to it as the Gaydon Mall because that's it. That's Gaydon relies on that store heavily.
Well, and a lot of those smaller communities do. You don't have the big chains who have built there, and that if you need to run to the store for a loaf of bread, you don't want to drive 20 minutes down the road.
And a lot of hunters rely on that store too, passing through duck hunters. As we all know, Gaydon is the duck hunting capital of the world.
Absolutely. Well, and we, of course, will be thinking and praying for that for Chief Delcom's family and that they can get everything up and running, and for the whole community at Gaydon. All right, so the other elephant, we have a room full this morning, is the body that was found in a canal earlier this week. Tell us what you can about that.
I'll probably refer that to Lon. I know that it is an ongoing investigation, and we're going to be kind of limited on information. But Lon, if you want to,
tell us what you can.
Well, what I can say is the press release that was sent out in the article at the time, he was unidentified. That subject, that male, has been identified, but we're still in contact, trying to be in contact with his next of kin. So we are not going to release his identity at this time. Obviously, with any situation like this, it's a sad circumstance. Our hearts go out to those families even before we have full contact with them. But
that's got to be hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's to me, that's one of the hardest things that you guys have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a 24/7 job. So, we take it home with us. It is what it is. We come back with it the next day. Stuff like this, the ATM theft, the loss of this gentleman, we don't stop working it. So.
Now, what was interesting when they did do the release, and again, if you can't answer something, I completely understand, but I'm going to ask questions anyway.
Of course.
In the release, it said that he was sent to the forensics lab and tried, for an autopsy and so forth and so on, and identity. Mm-hmm. Do you suspect that he had been in the water for any length of time, more than a day or so?
Well, he wasn't found immediately.
Okay,
I can explain. I could say that, but we're still waiting on final test results. What I can do is, I know our office implicitly thanks Parish Forensics, which is the facility who helps with these autopsies, and also the Lafayette Parish Sheriff's Office and Police Department for their help in help identifying him.
Do you think it was there was foul play?
I don't have the information on the manner and cause, because that hasn't been finalized with those final test results. But like I said, this isn't something that ever stops.
Right.
People do kind of dig on detectives sometimes. We're 9 to 5 job, but it's really not. Right. There's always some wheel turning somewhere. So we will get the answers.
So once you get, help us just walk through the steps. So this body was found. It goes. You've found the identity. You have to wait until that report comes out to find out if there was foul play, if there are charges, before you classify it. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. You need to know the cause and the manner of anyone's perishing before you can really know what you're dealing with.
Right.
At the end of the day, this is this gentleman's final story, and we need to make sure it's done right.
Right.
If there is something that justice needs to be brought forward, we need to make sure it's done 100%, because he deserves no less. Mm-hmm. His family deserves no less, and we're going to make sure we do everything we can.
But we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if I have a question, Lon, because you mentioned something that I'd like a little definition on. I'm sure our listeners would. You mentioned Acadiana Forensics. Mm-hmm. I remember years back there was a big move to establish that. And this is you referenced him in the case of, quote, an autopsy. Mm-hmm. But talk a little bit about what Acadiana Forensics, what they do, how many parishes do they serve, what services do they offer? Because that's a broad term, forensics.
Yeah, so I'd hate to undersell them. Parish Forensics in Broussard does a significant duty that just we can't find somewhere else. They can help with anything from funeral services with the families. They can contact the victims, next of kins, and get that next step of the story finished. I've seen them when we were in there in Vermilion. They've had other agencies as far as Opelousas and stuff there. They help a pretty gigantic chunk of not just the area, but the state.
Yeah.
They're what they do is nothing less than priceless. We do have some parishes they have their coroners who may be a doctor, but they may not be a forensic pathologist that can actually conduct an autopsy. They can declare cause and manner based off testing, but they may not be able to conduct the testing. That service they provide.
All right. We're going to continue our talk with Sheriff-elect, I couldn't find the words, Sheriff-elect Eddie Longlinay and Lon, his trusty sidekick, in just a moment. We will be right back. KPEL News Time, 8:18.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight low is going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning. A sloppy commute to work Friday morning is expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We have an accident on Northwest Evangeline Thruway. That's near its intersection with I-10. So if you're coming in, be careful. Current temperature 77 degrees. KPEL News time is 8:21 on this Thursday morning. It is May the 2nd. Very cloudy skies. Rain going to be moving in, as Daniel Phillips told us there in the forecast. Our law enforcement segment every Thursday morning between 8 and 9 o'clock. We invite a couple of law enforcement folks to come on in and tell us what's happening in their particular areas. This morning, right now, we have Vermilion Parish in the house. Sheriff-elect Eddie Longlinay and Lon, his trusty sidekick. I'm gonna start calling him Robin, like Batman. Anyway, no, I won't. But you guys wanted to address this morning the issue of social media. Oh my gosh. I don't know that we have long enough to address this issue of social media.
We can touch on it.
Yeah, but yes, but we'll just glaze the surface. What specifically, Lon?
Well, so for me specifically, predominantly of my investigations have to do with juveniles, and it always turns back to social media. I don't expect the juveniles necessarily to be listening to this broadcast.
They better be at school.
But the parents and the grandparents are. If you do research, you'll find that the National Surgeon General actually issued a Surgeon's General warning that no one under the age of 13 should be on any kind of social media. It's dangerous for their mental health. It's saddening that we can't trust what people online are going to do to our kids or tell our kids.
Oh yeah.
You know, the news stories that always catch attention is some kid makes a threat at a school or something gets perceived as a threat and then the school gets put on lockdown. The biggest stress I can give is that, you know, instilling your kids that actions, of course, have consequences. We're not here to villainize any child.
Right.
These are children. Children make mistakes. But things that are done in 30 seconds on the internet or on Snapchat or on Instagram, we have hours and days to cull through. They're not hidden. You know, the fake account doesn't hide them. We will find out. And then it's a consequence that it doesn't need to happen. Mm-hmm. Schools shouldn't have to be put on lockdown. The kids shouldn't have to deal with this consequence, all because they didn't know how to perceive a situation or they didn't know how to work through an emotional distress with another juvenile. And they say something that they don't mean. But we have to take every single one seriously because the one that we don't is going to be the one that does something. And I know our agency and I know with Sheriff-elect Longlinay, it's not going to change. We will take every single threat seriously. We will find out who's posting it. And we will make them accountable.
God, being a kid's hard.
100%.
You know, it's just, I mean, being a kid's hard. And, you know, I can remember when I was growing up, I don't know, 5 years ago. But I've seen my children and my grandchildren, my granddaughter, I have one that's old enough to have her own cell phone. She's 15. But technology, I was trying to find the right word, but technology has taken the challenges of bullying to a whole nother level.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean that on both sides of the spectrum. The bullies using it, or some kid is getting bullied at the school, and that's when their quote unquote victims decide that that's how they're going to handle it. And I can imagine, and the challenge that you guys face with that, you know, and it's quick. It's not just writing a note and I have to walk it somewhere or I have to decide where to leave it, whatever. It's right there in your hand.
Instantaneous.
Yeah. I mean, a friend of mine here at the radio station always referred to it as a bomb in your pocket.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just that it can be that explosive.
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, my biggest fear was when the street lights turn on, get inside.
Oh, yeah.
You don't do it. And now, I mean, you used to, hey, call me back after 6 because it's free. Now these kids can send one message out and 1,300 people get it. It's a different world we live in. And, I'm thankful that law enforcement has technology just like everybody else, because it's not going to stop. We need to keep evolving with it. And like I said, it's not to villainize a child, but we have to protect them from themselves and them from others as well.
Right. And just engaging with kids. And there's we see a lot of times, kids acting out. So the dad or the mom takes the door off the, hinges of their bedroom or whatever. And I'm a firm believer that if a child is doing something online, even if they're just sitting there, hey, what are you doing? Well, it's none of your business. Yes, it is my business.
Mm-hmm. You just made it my business.
You did well
with that reaction.
That's exactly right. It's not, and because I always told my kids growing up, I said, that's my property. I just let you use it. Yep. So whatever you do on it, it's this is not a you. This is an us. And I understand wanting to teach kids boundaries and be respectful and that sort of thing. But as parents, there are lines that we need to move, if you will, to make sure we're engaged.
I know we're a little short on time. Want to get a quick summary from Sheriff-elect. So how is the transition going, Eddie? And I believe you take office, you're sworn in, inaugurated July 1st.
That's correct.
So talk a little bit about your mentor and your current boss, Sheriff Couvillon, because I know you're indebted to him through the years, your experience with Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Office.
Yes, I met up with him yesterday, and we were talking to a couple of gentlemen, and I was telling them, Sheriff Couvillon has he has been my mentor, especially on the campaign side. I firmly believe that I can run a sheriff's office. That's in my wheelhouse. I've done things at that magnitude before. However, campaigning was totally out of my wheelhouse. I was uncomfortable with it, and but with his guidance, he was able to teach me, the right way of campaigning and getting through that process. And I got to say, I'm glad that part is somewhat over with. Yeah. But yeah, he has been very good to me, allowing me in his office and allowing me access to his entire office, structure, payroll, the budget. So a lot of sheriffs in Louisiana, I say a lot, there's a few newly elected sheriffs, there's 4 of them that I know of, that the current sheriff does not allow them.
Oh, wow. I know a couple of other offices, not just sheriffs, where that's happening. I could mention names, but I won't.
Yeah, I hear you. But just to be behind that 8 ball, July 1st, I'm going to hit it running.
That's good.
And these other 4, unfortunately, won't be able to do that. They're going to be.
And that's a shame.
It
that's
is.
just a shame. Shame on you.
It hurts the people.
But it's tribute to Sheriff Couvillon. And look,
Absolutely.
We know you're going to do an excellent job. We know that, but also to your predecessor, to Sheriff Couvillon, great job, sir, and thanks for all your many years of service to Vermilion Parish.
Absolutely. He's a different person, different than most sheriffs, but he truly is a believer in Vermilion Parish, and he has guided the sheriff's office in the right direction.
We have about 30 seconds. Real quickly, you said you're wrapping up getting your staff in place right now?
Yes, we're toward the end. It was a process. We had everybody reapply, and that's pretty much it's a natural thing for a new sheriff's coming in. And then after everybody reapplied except Sheriff Couvillon. I guess he don't want a job.
Dang it!
But after the application, we did interviews. We interviewed every person. It gave me a chance to meet them all and talk to them one-on-one to see what their concerns were within the parish and within the sheriff's office. And then the next step is going to be the job offer. So.
Excellent. Thank you guys for being here. Always a pleasure. Vermilion Parish. The sheriff-elect, of course, Eddie Longlinay. Lon, his trusty sidekick. You're going to be known as that forever.
I already had a few text messages around.
Yeah. Lon, the trusty sidekick. Thank you again, gentlemen, for coming on in. And we'll see you next month.
All right.
KPEL News time is 8:30.
Cape Hill covers Acadiana with Lowry's Printing and Copying.
The 27th Annual Sunset Urban Garden Festival is Saturday, May 4th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Marie Street in Sunset. That's across from the old Sunset High School. Native plants and flowers, ferns and tropicals, vegetables and herbs. There's educational opportunities, over 100 vendors, and children's activities. Also, Le Jardin des Enfants, the children's garden. Get more details, call Susie Brunet at 337-322-0129. The Lafayette Genealogical Society has Genealogy 101, a free workshop and roundtable Saturday, May 4th, beginning at 9:30 a.m. at the Lafayette Public Library in downtown Lafayette. Learn all about genealogy and ask your questions and meet other people with an interest in genealogy. To find out about more meetings, go to lalgs.org.
This hour brought to you by Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management. Online at MatthewJames.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the Cape Hill News app. Now the headlines from the Cape Hill News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wertz with a look at news on this Thursday, May 2nd. We start in Baton Rouge, where a House vote on whether to hold a constitutional convention was tabled Wednesday after legislators expressed concerns. After discussion, New Iberia Representative Bo Boye amended his bill to protect homestead exemption and ensure his fellow representatives that private funds would not be used for the convention. Boye also amended the legislation so the K-12 public school financing formula is protected. After a closed-door meeting with legislators on Tuesday, Governor Jeff Landry's administration will be participating in the federal summer feeding program for needy children, reversing his earlier position. The administration initially said the state lacked funds needed to cover the administrative cost of the program, but last week, the House voted to include $3.6 million to make up the difference. At least 250,000 children will be served by the $71 million from the federal government. Beginning June 4th, eligible families will receive an extra $40 per month in EBT during the summer months. The NAACP filed a motion on Wednesday to appeal the ruling by a judicial panel that says Louisiana should toss the redrawn congressional map adopted by the legislature in January, and that fight is going to the U.S. Supreme Court. The federal judges in Louisiana cited violations of the 14th Amendment, saying the map represents impermissible racial gerrymandering. Congressman Garrett Graves, whose district was altered in the most recent version, was among the plaintiffs who filed suit against the map. Prior to Tuesday's ruling, Baton Rouge Senator Cleo Fields announced that he would run for the 6th District based on the map state lawmakers approved in January. Fields says it's time for the Supreme Court to settle the matter. The Secretary of State's office has stood firm on a May 15th deadline for a map to be finalized in time for the fall election. Congressman Garrett Graves says he is running for re-election in the 6th District. Louisiana is the only state without a finalized congressional map. A meeting is set for Monday in Shreveport to figure out the best path forward. ATM thieves have struck again, this time in Vermilion Parish. At about 2 o'clock Wednesday morning, someone crashed into Longyaws Grocery in Gaydon. The store is owned by the town's police chief. The thieves followed the same pattern as in previous ATM robberies in Acadiana. They used a stolen pickup truck that deputies found abandoned in a field. The ATM was in the bed of the truck along with building materials from the store. Anyone with information is asked to call the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Department. A St. Martinville man was taken into custody in Lafayette for sexual violence charges filed against him in Alabama. 31-year-old Bobby Bergeron Jr. was extradited to DeKalb County and faces charges of first-degree rape, second-degree rape, first-degree sexual battery, and first-degree sodomy. Alabama authorities expressed gratitude to the U.S. Marshals and the Lafayette Office of the Department of Children and Family Services for assisting in Bergeron's arrest. The man convicted in the killing of Garen Lewis in 2019 will spend the rest of his life in prison. Duke John Lewis conspired with others and shot the New Iberia senior high student because they believed he was a member of a rival gang, which he was not. Garen was on his way to pick up his girlfriend for a date when he was shot in the head. The victim was the son of New Iberia community activist Raymond Shudu Lewis. The Rolling Stones kick off the second weekend of Jazz Fest with a special performance at the New Orleans Fairgrounds at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Jazz Fest producer Quint Davis says the legendary rock band was booked to play at Jazz Fest in 2019, but Mick Jagger had heart issues. That was rescheduled for 2020, but canceled because of COVID. The Rolling Stones are just one of many great artists scheduled to play this weekend. Foo Fighters, Neil Young, and Queen Latifah are also on the schedule. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirtz.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight low is going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning. Is sloppy commute to work Friday morning is expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
All right, we have an accident on Cypress Street, 100 East Cypress, which is near downtown Lafayette. Also on Bertrand Drive, near its intersection with Richard Drive. So make sure you're careful in those areas. Current temperature 77 degrees. KPEL News Time is 8:40 on this Thursday morning. It's May the 2nd on Thursday mornings. Of course, in the 8 o'clock hour, we invite our friends from law enforcement agencies across Acadiana to come in and let us know what's happening in their corner of the world, their corner of God's country.
Corner of the parish.
That's right. Eddie Thibodeau is
Eddie
in with
Squared.
us. Eddie Squared, right? I said the Eddies. Eddie Squared works.
You had the imitator, but now you have the originator.
Oh, if he's listening.
Because I'm older than him.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. At least you admit that,
But he's
right?
my idol. He's sheriff-elect. Good morning.
Well, good morning.
Hey, I wanna add a little bit to what they were saying. We
about
the investigations.
Okay.
Because we were talking in the hall. What people have to know that it is not a 9 to 5. Okay. Right. We're always working it. And sometimes these cases take a long time. We're fixing to go into, 2 years into a murder, and we're just getting more information. And hopefully it'll be some good news pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I wish it was like CSI, that we had an hour. And we had that little flashlight that they have.
Yeah.
It finds that little piece of hair.
And they
in the
always
closet.
have the professionals right there.
And $1 million on a scene, on
Yeah.
the crime scene. Just know this, people. We are always working. When I was in narcotics, people would call in, well, that house has a bunch of vehicles. All right, so we just can't go knock on the door. And we do knock and talks. That's when we knock on the door and say, hey, we've got a couple of tips saying that this is happening. Can we come in and search your house? Sometimes they say, yeah. Most time they say, sometimes they say no. Most time they say, sure. And then they have like 3 pounds.
Yeah.
I would never understand that. When I worked criminal patrol, same thing. We'd stop cars and say, hey, can I search your car? Yes. And they got 10 pounds of whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of
wait,
course.
hang on, Mark. Let me turn your mic on. You weren't in the room.
They let you in, and then do they have to sign anything?
Oh, yeah,
Eddie?
we sign a permission to search and stuff. Any guys working a road for criminal and addiction will tell you. They stop a car and they say, sure. It's just, I don't know if they just think we're not going to do it or that we're not going to find it. So it's truly amazing to look at people and say, you have any drugs in your house? No. Can I search? Yes. And they've got scales and everything.
And there it is on the kitchen table.
You need to write a book, Inside the Criminal Mind.
And our heroes out there, our men and women, if we all would get together, y'all would sit there and go, what?
Mm-hmm.
Or one guy we arrest and he said, man, I only got 3 rocks. You're going to arrest me for that? Okay. Is there a limit that
it's like when we ask y'all, can I go 5 miles out over the speed limit? Yeah.
True story. We're sitting at Eunice PD. I started in 86 after I graduated. And this guy comes in and we're secure back there in our dispatcher's window. And this guy comes up and he's shaking a bag of marijuana. And we're looking at him. So we open a little port and says, can we help you? I want to make a complaint. So, okay, all right, somebody put it down. He said, I bought this. This is supposed to be some Colombian gold, but it's full of seeds and stems. I swear. We said, hold on, we'll come around.
Oh, my gosh.
And I know
awesome.
every department has every guy, every patrol man or patrol lady or narcotics would say, I've got a story just like that.
I don't believe you. You made that up.
I know.
No.
God's honest truth.
Well, they aren't smart.
But getting back to our thing, we are trying honestly, and that's why we are so adamant on Crime Stoppers of we don't ask your name. And we said it last time. We redact any information. If you tip and say, we sign a confidential agreement, and I'll go to court and they might subpoena me, and I'll just tell them. First of all, I don't know.
Is that information protected in the law?
Yes, it is a Louisiana state law that they tried to subpoena me a while back ago, and I contacted our attorney for Crime Stoppers USA, and he sent the laws. I had the law, but he told him, he said, you can't. When you start trying to subpoena us, first of all, I can't tell you because I don't know.
Yeah.
But you have some people that say, hey, I know who did it. It's my next door neighbor. Well, I'll redact that before it even gets to the detective.
You don't want anything that's going to identify
knocking on the door. So we don't say things like, "Or my cousin did that." But it's working great. We aired last week. In fact, yesterday, we aired the Opelousas murder that unfortunately killed a off-duty corrections officer in our department.
Yes.
And I can't say too much about the case, but they just drove up and they shot through the car, and they hit one other person, and unfortunately they hit our off-duty deputy.
Yeah, she was a correction, and she's only 23, 24 years old. Yeah.
Couple of years. She just got promoted to court liaisons. So her funeral's Saturday, so our honor guard and some other. I've got calls from the Department of Wildlife and Fishery and stuff. They're going to come pay their respects. But even this case, Sheriff Guichos has said, hey, Opelousas, if you need anything, phone dumping anything, we'll work with you. And, it's one of our own. But I told one of our media outlet the other day, they actually called me and said, hey, any news? No. Well, what's taking y'all so long? Well, it's called an investigation, and every officer, every DA would say the same thing. We don't just want to make an arrest. We want a conviction.
Oh, yeah.
That's the biggest thing. There's an old saying that the grand jury can indict a ham sandwich, depending on how they lead it. Well, we want, not just on our case here with our deputy, but any case.
Right.
Hopefully we'll have some good news soon on even the Eunice murder. Mm-hmm. We had one about a month ago, and that's the one that one of the media is like, well, what's taking y'all so long? We have autopsy reports. We have gun analysis on when you have somebody that shot over 40 times, we need to know, and different guns, we need the crime lab to say, hey, this is this gun, this bullet, this goes to this gun. There's a lot of just canvassing the area.
Well, and just building the case, like you said, for the courts.
The conviction.
Right.
We do not want to hurt the family, knowing that we arrested this person and they finally get a relief, but then we go to court and our investigation is flawed with holes all over. One of the biggest things on our last case we were working on is an alibi. All right, so we have video and stuff, and we're watching where he's got an alibi, he says. So guess what? We're trying to find the persons that he said, he knows this. We're trying to find this guy to break his alibi, So it does take time. I wish it was an hour.
Well, and as you said that, I remember just here in the last week or so, we've had a few reports from Iberia and maybe one other parish where they finally were able to charge somebody in murders that were 2 and 3 years old.
Yes.
So that's not singular to St. Landry Parish.
One of the awesome, the greatest thing that I remember when I first started in '93 at the sheriff's office. We had an elderly lady killed, a grandmother. We went through even the satellites, looking at, did Google, at the time, were they there? Did we have any vehicles? And this one detective, Renee Spire, he's retired. He just gathered, now we're talking in the 90s. He's gathering all evidence, and he's sealing everything. 12 years later, we get a letter from the crime lab saying there's been advancements for crime for DNA unbelievable. Send all your other cases and stuff. And we found out who the killer was. It was his grandson.
Yeah.
Grandson.
So it takes time.
So it's our detectives. They will preserve that scene for later on stuff.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and be right back and continue our discussion with St. Landry Sheriff's Department Deputy Chief Eddie
Just
Thibodeau.
Eddie Thibodeau. Just
Eddie. Yeah, I just call him Eddie. KPEL News Time 8:49. Your one-stop shop in Lafayette for firearms, concealment furniture, men's grooming products, and our locally roasted coffee.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today with pop-up showers and a couple thunderstorms making their way across the area. I'd keep the umbrella with you over the next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be at about 83 degrees. We'll call it a 60% chance for some rainfall. Overnight lows going to be down in the 70s tonight. More rain on the way for tomorrow morning. Is sloppy commute to work Friday morning as expected, but rain going to be coming to an end Friday evening, and the rest of the weekend looks quiet. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We have an accident on Cameron Street. It's the 6400 block of Cameron Street. That is in Scott, just west of Apollo Road. So that's going to be causing some slowdowns. Be very careful in that area. Current temperature 77 degrees.
A Monday warrior, mean strike. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
KPEL News Time is 8:52 on this Wednesday morning. We have a couple of minutes left to visit with our friend Eddie Thibodeau from St. Landry Parish Sheriff's Office.
You got my name right.
I did. See, it's going to be.
I used to be called T-Boy and Thibodeau Johnny Cash when I was young.
What would you prefer?
Thibodeau Johnny Cash.
Well, then you'd have to wear black.
Yeah, well, I can't wear black.
I know. It's okay. We just like Eddie Thibodeau. That works.
Something else we forgot, Trace.
What's that?
Being that now Vermilion has their first one, we're just telling our if we looked at all the ATM thefts, if the owners, and I know it will cost a little bit.
I was going to ask you about all of that.
A little bit, but we're telling our people and everybody, if you own a business and you don't have the barriers in front of the door, this is we
like
looked at all
those
ours,
big steel or whatever,
just a little small 4-foot pipes, drill them into your ground, cement them, put some cement in them. We saw that all of ours do not have the barriers. So that could be just it's not expensive. It's 4 and 5-inch pipes, I guess. Drill them right in front of the door where they're crashing. If you notice all of our crashes, they're going right through the door.
Yep.
Make it a little bit harder. Listen, lights and alarms. By the time we get out there, Eunice PD, we used to have a 2-minute response time. Sheriffs, listen, I'm going to speak real. Sheriffs sometimes 15, 20 minutes. And they're long gone. So just make it a little harder. And I know it's another cost to you, but looking at the damage of these stores and stuff, that I know the insurance is going to pay, but then you're stopping your business.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you're in a town that everybody, let's say Lawtell. We have the Lawtell fast food. I mean, that's so busy in there because they do a lot of food. But put some barriers up there. We've always said that even this, at night, park your vehicle in front of it. But again, they're hot wire and they're breaking in vehicles.
Right.
But it's a cheap, effective way that if you just put the little barriers in front of it, and most of them have them in case some person accidentally presses the gas instead of braking, just drive through your store.
Have y'all seen any? I was writing the story about Lanyons in Gaydon yesterday afternoon, and I thought I need to reach out to Eddie. Have you heard about any more recent ones than that,
No,
or
not
have you seen it died down?
I think, and I hope I'm not speaking. I know the chief in Orneville, which Orneville is half St. Landry, half St. Martin.
Yeah.
I thought he had a warrant for someone. I don't know if I've seen it in the news.
Well, there was in St. Martin Parish, and I don't have it in front of me.
Arrest?
They did make an arrest, and Sheriff Beckett Bro said that they had an identity of someone else.
Because the DNA, they find again. It's and like I know we wrapping up. It's the Acadiana Crime Lab. It's not St. Landry Crime Lab.
Right.
It's not Vermilion. So there are other, like if we have this murder in Eunice, we don't go to the top of the list. There's other murders that they're looking at, even the autopsy. We use Beaumont to do our autopsy. So our guys go over there. You just can't jump ahead. Now, if it was some big, say, God forbid, a mass shooting or something like that, but we have to wait for Acadiana Crime Lab, which, hey, those guys are awesome. But it's not just us.
One day I want to go visit there.
It's pretty cool.
Okay, you're gonna have to take me.
I'll have to see.
Yeah, because I want to go pretend like I'm a CSI.
Yeah, but I promise you this: all law enforcement are working the cases as fast as they can. We want to clear this case because unfortunately we have other cases that we have to go through.
Eddie, it is always a pleasure to have you in. And let me tell you, people even ask, they'll email us, text us, hey, where's Eddie? Well, here's Eddie.
We got to share the love.
That's right.
Because honestly, I've always said this, you guys, and I'm not just saying it, for news talk, it's all around Acadiana.
No, and that's what we needed to do. So we and thank you for that. Eddie visits both Eddies on the first Thursday of each month. Next week, we will do it again with St. Martin and Acadia. Y'all have a great day. Yeah, y'all have a great day. God bless.
Business Report is brought to you by Gulf Coast Bank, your local community bank. Whether your financial needs are for an individual, a business, or for the whole family, Gulf Coast Bank has the knowledge and products to serve you best. With 9 convenient locations throughout Acadiana, you're never far from a friendly Gulf Coast Bank associate.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
There was little change in the number of people filing for unemployment benefits for the first time last week. New claims for benefits came in at 208,000. Jobless claims have remained in a range of 194 to 225,000 this year. Continuing claims in the latest reading, those remaining on benefits, came in at 1.7 million. Americans continue to get more on the job, but productivity improvements are moderating, rising just 0.3% in the first quarter. Kellanova, the snack business that was formerly part of Kellogg, says sales declined in its recent quarter, though it is seeing tangible signs that business is improving. And Carvana's earnings in the recent quarter were its best in history. The stock is up 36%. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosolda, invested in you.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANG.